because I am human. Then you see a castle in the distance and think
Are
to
you
yourself,
sure about that, Max0r? Have you seen your videos? Are you sure you're human?
this video has a lot of footage of people smacking into the ground at Mach 10 speed. Crimson Desert is one of the least understood games that I have ever covered on this channel, because either you've never
You think I'll last to the end of the video, or I'll have a struggle first?
touched it and only vaguely recognize it from this tweet, which extols the virtues of being able to beat women, or you have actually played it and immediately forgot about the entire thing because playing this game is like falling asleep to the Shrek Forever After DVD menu. So for the majority who don't know, Crimson Desert is the newest innovation in AI-powered open-world gaming technology, miraculously allowing the player to freely move in any direction without the need for loading screens, all while featuring
My understanding on Crimson Desert is that it's the most frustratingly fun sandbox game where you can do pretty much anything, and that's what people are actually doing with the game, just playing around with what they can do instead of actually focusing on the main story. And for my understanding, the story is not really that good, but it's actually the side quest was the saving grace of this game, and and I really hope I can play it one day. It looks really fun. I mean, fun without the brain-rotting visuals over here.
riveting combat, intense platforming, and meticulous collection of ancient precursor
Ooh,
artifacts.
cute.
Except no, the game I am actually describing is Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy for the PlayStation 2, which you can
You miserable lion piece of...
actually run natively on your PC without emulation using this cool software that decompiles your ISO called OpenGold. Except no again, I am actually playing Jak and Daxter.
Should we play that? Should I play Jak and Daxter? I never played this game. I didn't even know it existed until a few years ago. Platforming games I was familiar with when I was a kid were Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, Mario Brothers. I think it counts. What else? Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. What other platformers? I guess Donkey Kong. I don't think Sonic counts as a platformer, or does he? Uh, I really suck as a gamer, what you can tell. That's why I'm reaction beat. That's why I'm a slap tuber.
The Precursor Legacy inside of The Sims 3. For this reason, Crimson Desert is also a very polarizing game.
Maybe this is me just being a filthy millennial, but is that a Spider-Man shield?
Either you love it, or you think that it is unrepentant slop. Slop, as a term, has gained a great deal of popularity for denoting a type of content that is derivative, mass
Like and subscribe.
produced, made simply to be consumed by the largest number of cattle in the least amount of time, with various low-quality YouTubers even being forced to sell their souls to gamer subs energy drinks for money, selling their viewers various zany...
And I'm pretty sure... VTuber detected. And I'm pretty sure they won't take offense to anything or what he's saying right now. I'm sure they'll be very cool about it.
types of energy slop at the low price of 40 cents per serving and somehow not changing with inflation. I personally use GamerSupps in order to work my 10-hour shifts at the job factory so I can have the privilege of producing so much shareholder value. Click the link below for 10% off my funny flavors, or the free market will be forced to build a data center in your house. Or perhaps that is all commie.
I'm curious, can you actually have this kind of this train in the game? Is that so? That is actually pretty cool.
Producing so much shareholder value. Click the link below for 10% off my funny flavors, or the free market will be forced to build a data center in your house. Or perhaps that is all commie bullshit. It's not like baiting people with politics on the internet is really easy or anything. So to prove the political neutrality and objectivity of my news and fact-orientated YouTube channel, for my next trick,
What, are you sponsored by Ground News?
I will misgender a non-binary person while acknowledging that this video was written on stolen land. Though I will have to comment that I am personally against the mass immigration of Paleolithic refugees into the sovereign borders of Demonis. Someone once made the mistake of letting Greymanes in, and they have already formed an ethno-state in Hernand, right next to the Goblin one. And while calling this game
I'm pretty sure that is not referencing any particular event whatsoever.
slop isn't exactly an accurate term, it is a funny one.
It's
So
correct.
that is the one that I'm going to be using now. Try to look at the terrain design for like 3 seconds and tell me with a straight face that the art direction was not done by ChatGPT. Goals. What are my goals when making this video? Make discourse about this video game absolutely impossible to have. Make every analysis and opinion about it completely irrelevant for no reason. Let us agree to never reconcile any opinions that we might be thinking of right now. Features. The main selling point of Crimson Desert is that it has features in it, making it the ideal game for those who love to consume content, like the experience of scrolling YouTube shorts if they were YouTube.
I had to pause because because I don't want this to be non-transformative. But yeah, it's a really interesting game when you see all these visuals without the edits. You really can do a lot of stuff in this game. I mean, those cool robots and stuff. So I'm pretty sure he's just rage baiting with the chat GPT and stuff like with jokes like that. They really use a lot of AI in this game. I must tell the result is pretty impressive, all things considered. And I'm not really sure how much AI they use on this game or how much is real artists. But I just will say it's still pretty beautiful. It's still really beautiful game to look at and probably even more fun to play.
Blogs. It plays like a manhwa reads, and it reads like an Instagram reel about my grandma getting hit by a bazooka. Crimson Desert has robust combat,
sorry about
various
that.
bosses, advanced puzzle solving for the next 3 hours or so, house building, armor dyeing, Farmville, fishing, liberal use of an Evangelion, and so much more than is actually fun. Why does game this so many
Yeah, I'm sold. Please. I'm looking.
inside of it have our things? Well, Crimson Desert is
Yeah, and so please, someone send me money so I can get a copy of this game and computer so that they can run it.
first and foremost a game made by South Koreans, which doesn't really sound like a relevant detail until
Well, that explains why everyone is attracted. Actually,
you first understand that Korean society is a series of cram schools and corporate humiliation rituals, and sometimes in the middle, you get to play StarCraft. 75% of young people in this nation want to leave it. We are talking about the closest thing that humanity has to an endangered species. This is a nation that is actively looking to occupy itself so that death seems like it is coming a little bit faster. Why is this relevant to our game? Because every single conversation, every menu, every person, and every mechanic in Crimson Desert exists solely to give you a different ethnicity to cleanse from the face of the earth. So the entire notion that I should be paying attention to literally anything that anyone is saying feels like an insult to my intelligence. I know the outcome of this conversation we're having right now. It is the same as the last 30 conversations I've been dragged into, and every single one of them ends with a demand for goblin genocide. And look, okay, I am definitely not saying that this game might have a problematic depiction of goblins or anything. I just think
Sir, are you insinuating that this game is racist? Sir, Max0r, are you saying the goblins are? No, they are. No, they can't. No, it can't be. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't mean the goblins. Millionaires, would they? Or you?
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
that it's kind of weird that they happen to live as a minority of inherently conniving traders, black marketeers, and profit-driven debt collectors with the sole honor of being able to charge white people usury and run all of Hernan's financial institutions. I'm sure that this has absolutely no relation to any hypothetical stereotypes that may or may not exist in real life. I just think that this game might not be for you if you are Italian. Racism is a core mechanic of this game's narrative. The literal main quest of the game is entirely about a never-ending hereditary blood feud between two slightly different variations of Scandinavian Mayo monkeys. This is a role-playing game where I am forced to roleplay as an Icelandic Josef Mengele, genocidally cleansing the entire face of Kayloon because Cliff, as a licensed therapist apparently, can only ever respond to Hitler's dialogue with slightly different variations of yes and what happened. To put it simply, questing in this game is an absolute nightmarish slog, predicated by the idea that dialogue in and of itself is either a route to American historical reenactments or a vehicle to a 2-hour puzzle in which you slowly and manually move boxes around hoping in vain that you will swiftly die of old age. I want you to imagine this given scenario. You're playing an open world game and definitely not a spreadsheet with a realistic scan of Delaware on top. So you
Never been to Delaware. I bet it's a nice. I bet it's a nice place.
say to yourself, I would like to see locations and experience new areas outside of my current spatial understanding because I am human. Then you see a castle in the distance and think to yourself,
Are you sure about that, Max0r? Have you seen your videos? Are you sure you're human?
wow, I can't wait to see what adventures await me over there. Only to discover that the castle has no
Hey, what did that deer did to you? What did that deer did to him?
enemies inside of it, no loot you can actually find, and the knowledge that you have now wasted 20 minutes of your narrowing lifespan. How devious and quirky. Then, 7 hours of real time later, you just happen to be taking a random quest that you found on a spreadsheet, wherein this desaturated ice dweller has the actual caucasity to inform me of this mysterious and hitherto unknown castle in the distance containing unique enemies and an entire boss fight in it, because I cannot emphasize it enough, this scenario is every single thing in Crimson Desert. In this game, you can grab a tree and use it to catapult yourself. You can clean objects with a broom. You can scramble your brains like Sonic the Hedgehog. And you can even go fishing.
I do have to wonder how much of this is just him trying to break the game, or this actually stuff that happens in the game and you're trying to play it normally.
Just like in Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy for the PlayStation 2. But when I decided that I wanted to see this castle, this mountain, this battlefield with 9,000 robotic bees, and this Crimson Desert in the video game called
Helldivers reference.
9,000 robotic bees and this Crimson Desert in the video game called I forget the name. I was told to come back later.
I just call it the Looney Tunes Desert.
After I had spoken to a random rock 5 zip codes away and listened to the most boring explanation of anything I have ever seen. This problem gets so much worse than you think it is. It is not just castles, there are entire...
Okay, so my understanding so far, for you to beat this game, you must play the cube in the correct hole and start a race war and just kill everybody you see and for 10,000 feet around the sky to the ground.
Entire nations in this game that exist purely in the context of the main quest, and after that are literally never seen or heard from ever again. Just like my dad, the game does not expect you to actually have a memory about anything at all. Entire mechanics will just show up and then randomly disappear into the void for 30 hours. Did you happen to like the dialogue mechanics with fucking 10 seconds of pausing between each line? Yeah.
Dialogue. Who reads dialogue in a game? I do, but that's beside the point.
Me neither. So why is it in the game for exactly 2 mandatory quests? Can we please make that number 0 because it feels like I am having a stroke right now and not...
Maybe that's just your edit. Maybe it's just you editing the video. I just thought about that.
The good kind. Hitherto unknown antagonists who are now suddenly really important to the plot apparently keep appearing and get killed within the span of 30 minutes, never to be seen or mentioned ever again. Everything is paced like it is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure if every single stand user talked in fucking Mad Libs. That is why Crimson Desert is so forgettable, because the actual game itself is constantly forgetting. The literal second that the player looks away from something or someone, that thing ceases to exist. And believe me, I really tried to get them to exist, okay? There is just nothing here. But oh my god, Max, there are things in the game. Haven't you seen the things to do in the world, Max? Haven't you fought these fucking 4 identical copies of the same guy? Haven't you done the quest where you rescue this goblin and he tells you to go fight the 50 simultaneous wolves? Yes, I have, dipshit. And look, if you like things to do, you know, if you're like a 40-year-old dad who just wants to come home and be assigned a task as is their natural inclination, I am not going to yuck someone else's yum butt.
I'm not quite sure if he's just being sarcastic or he really didn't like the game. Probably he's just being sarcastic because I see this gameplay and I want to play it. Or maybe it's just his funny editors that is making me want to play the game.
It's probably because you were not given a soul at birth. Does anything that I do affect the world? No. I fight bosses, I do puzzles, I take a random quest from a guy and watch a mass shooting happen at the circus completely unprompted by anything. I go back to my camp, I sell the bodies that I looted to build up my Farmville minigame, I go to sleep, and then I do it all over again, and you know what? I like the Farmville minigame.
See, I knew he liked the game. I knew he was just being overdramatic.
Chapter 2, the Farmville minigame. Please hear me out, okay? Because if this game's...
Oh yeah, chapter 2 when we are 3/4 move away from finishing the video.
World isn't even going to try to motivate me at all. The least it can do is let me motivate me at all. There is genuine progression in the Farmville minigame, and frankly, it's a really good idea because unlike the main quest, I am the one deciding what I do with my camp. I decide...
Main quest. This game has a main quest. Probably should have made that joke at the beginning of the video.
what weapons I'm going to upgrade. Maybe I want to chop down a tree so we can have wood. Maybe I send someone to get that wood and use that wood to build a farm. Maybe I identify an unprotected rival ethnicity in the mountains so that I may purloin that which they no longer need, sell them to my blacksmith, and invest the proceedings into a stock index fund. Maybe I want to go mining, but uh-oh, bandits have occupied the quarry, so I have to kill them. My gear isn't good enough, so I need to upgrade by getting a better smith, and that takes money, and oh my god, there is almost a game here. I can choose where to invest my money. I can invest in myself by purchasing 200 rotisserie chickens, and I had to search every single grocery store in the game for this, please laugh. I can invest in the Bank of Naples. Where I can actually choose my investment strategy on the open market like some sort of perfidious Dutchman, or invest it in the purchase of a new cart and the packaging of unique goods, then looking up where to sell those goods, and then traversing the map and then running them back to another post. And it now just dawns on me that I am making a more compelling story than the narrative of any quest in this game, and it's not even close. If you want me to remember a location, do not make me save it. Make it mean something to me. Make the liberation of Palun from the Danish people unlock new territory and resources to exploit. Make exploration uncover new and lucrative trades so I can exploit the differences in wages to build a Labubu factory. Make anything in the story matter to the salt of the earth goblin skinner. And yet, I still have to mine random outcroppings of iron and copper like a Congolese child, even though I have an entire ethno-state at my personal command, because this game cannot decide between dialectical materialism or great man theory. One subscribing to the idea that change can only come through a single man's drive for profound and tremendous violence. That if there is a problem, it is because there are bad people in charge, they are bad because they decide to be bad, and all we have to do to solve the issue is to kill them. Nothing fundamentally changes except that we have to put the right people in charge.
Well, I wouldn't say that's a bad approach. Not that I'm condemning any of these actions not that I'm condemning any of these actions in practice or theory, but For legal reasons, that's a joke. You do not take it serious.
Charge, and the right people are always me. While the other one postulates that the advancement of society ultimately comes from collective material advancement and the endless struggle between differing modes of production, eventually culminating in the birth of a bourgeois goblin class. And with these two competing philosophies in the same game and indeed focused into a single Napoleonic figure who barely speaks in conversation, leads us to the final synthesis representing all the flaws and contradictions of Crimson Desert itself. This game, genuinely and accidentally, love it or hate it, is liberalism, and in conclusion, would be unable to commit to a coherent position on Israel. I hope that you liked reading my politically charged video essay about the role of autistic non-binary people under capitalism or something, as much as I liked writing it. I basically made up this entire video script, but in reality, no one is actually going to call me out if I lie, because ultimately, that requires actually remembering a game called Crimson Desert. You know, which is actually pretty similar to a game called Jak and Daxter. A game called Crimson Desert.
Video game, prison. No, let me make another voice. Crimson Desert. A video game I would really like to no longer have to make a video on. Thanks. Max0r, the brain rotted.
You know, which is actually pretty similar to a game called Jak and Daxter.
Well, that was a good video. A little too political for my takes, but I'm not American, so I really couldn't get two thoughts of who offended this video. But I think the biggest takeaway from here is that Crimson Desert really looks like Jackson Dexter. So if you agree or not with whatever he said, just leave a comment down below and like the video and subscribe. And I'll leave the link to the original video so that you can go complain about it to him. See you later.